the story of a couple of sex-obsessed incels who embark on a journey of highly unethical cloning experiments.
This is highly illegal.
Weird science.
And instead of using their talents to help people dying of organ failure, they instead create a subservient sausage wallet to satisfy their carnal desires.
It's purely sexual.
No,
Watch as these two modern-day Dr. Frankensteins create Lisa, the world's hottest fleshlight.
By the way, you did an excellent job. Thank you.
As she uses a series of immoral motivational techniques
Just for that, I ought to give you a set of bluffing.
to win over the hearts of two incredibly self-obsessed teenage girls.
I'm not impressed. No.
So join us as we nosedive into this heartwarming tale of child exploitation that the whole family can enjoy.
over my dead body.
On this edition of Cinema CPR.
I'm Lifeguard Dan.
And I'm Owen the Sloth.
With Brock the Broccoli. We are just barely past the opening credits when Gary and Wyatt's not-so-wholesome intentions are on full display.
You know what I would like to do? Shower with her.
They are exposed as the phonies they really are by our heroes, Ian and Max.
Yo! Check us out!
And as most would use this as motivation to self-reflect and take on a better attitude towards those of the opposite sex, what do they do instead?
They use a Memotech MTX 512 with half a mega memory in order to circumvent our national security system and create a glorified spunk receptacle?
Along with some sketchy wiring that puts the entire town of Sherman, Illinois in jeopardy. They create what will become the ultimate sex symbol of the 80s, influencing millions of young girls across the world to use such extreme amounts of Aquanet, it will forever alter the Earth's climate.
What would you little maniacs like to do first?
I know. How about putting a small business owner's livelihood in jeopardy by sneaking in a couple of minors for a little underage drinking?
I don't think we belong here.
Don't be silly, it's a public place.
Where they proceed to mock the locals.
Fast man. Let me tell you my story, man. Last year, I was insane for this crazy little 8th grader.
And experiment with alternative lifestyles.
Well, goddamn.
Then once the alcohol poisoning is good and set in, Lisa allows an unlicensed driver clearly over the legal limit to drive them home.
Nothing says comedy quite like a traffic fatality.
Well, my nuts will never play me.
Next, we meet Chet,
You stink, buttwad!
Wyatt's responsible older brother who agrees to chaperone them while their parents are away.
Hey, so what are big brothers for?
And what better way to round out the evening than with a good heaping dose of abuse?
You sure you're only 15?
Oh, how I miss the 80s.
The next morning, after they awaken from a severe hangover,
What happened?
I don't know.
they are confronted by Lisa, who proceeds to mock a 16-year-old's lack of sexual prowess.
It's seriously affecting your sex life.
This is in stark contrast to Chet, who's big enough to let the previous night's antics go by the wayside, and even compliments Wyatt on his cooking skills.
Hey, that looks pretty good.
And even disregards his own health in favor of protecting his little brother from ammonia.
For Christ's sakes, will you cover yourself?
Next, we head off to the mall for a little shopping, where we once again see Hilly and Deb as they reveal that they're only using Ian and Max to climb the social ladder.
You know, I'm getting really bored of their
What, do you want a tampon? I don't know.
That's so messed up. They don't deserve that.
Poor Ian and Max. Two young men who are more concerned with the safety of others, even going as far as walking Lisa to her car so she will not be harassed, only to be given the cold shoulder and drive off with her physically abusive puppet masters.
She likes the rough stuff. What can I do, you know?
Meanwhile, later that night, Lisa decides that why ruin two lives when you can destroy an entire community, and throws a party at Wyatt's house despite his growing concerns.
Do you want to be a party animal? You've had to learn to live in the jungle and stop worrying and go and get dressed.
And just when you think the depravity can't get any worse, she heads to Gary's house for the sole purpose of mocking his parents.
So what do you do for a living now?
Then proceeds to undermine their rights as Gary's legal guardian.
You know, there's going to be sex, drugs, rock and roll, chips, dips, chains, whips. You know, your basic high school orgy type of thing.
Mix in a heaping spoonful of elder abuse.
Don't threaten me, Owl! You're out of shape. I'll kick your
And finish it up by exposing Gary's addiction to genital mutilation.
Oh, Gary! I never talk soft to anything. You were combing your hair. I was.
Then kidnap him at gunpoint.
You don't cheer up, I'll blow your face off.
So what is the lesson we're supposed to learn from all of this?
That you can do anything you want in life, assuming you look like a supermodel?
Hi.
With the party in full swing, everyone's favorite narcissists show up, wasting no time in bad-mouthing their boyfriends.
You think they'll embarrass us tonight? Yeah.
Despite their best efforts to make everyone feel welcome.
Hey, brother. What's happening, my man? Right on.
Meanwhile, Gary and Wyatt are having their own moral dilemma. Do they go rotisserie on a 10 or split sixes?
Look, the thing that really galls me is that she's ours and we can't get close to her.
Hold up. What do you mean you can't get close to her?
Charity's real fun, isn't it?
Then, like with every great love story, they finally come face to face with the girls of their dreams. In the toilet. They soon quickly realize that they can have their cake with a side order of pie.
Look, let's get on with these two's girlfriends and go back to Lisa. This is like a dream come true.
How about if see if we can score the points with these two and deal with them cakes when we get to them later?
Sounds good.
Then an even more devious plot is revealed as a drunk Lisa reveals that Gary and Wyatt are using mind control to keep her enslaved in their own sex cult.
Because I belong to Gary and Wyatt.
Belong? What? They make you in the garage with power tools? They own you? Control you? Seriously?
Seriously.
Fearing for her life once again, Ian and Max cultivate a plan to expose Gary and Wyatt once again for the degenerates they really are.
So what's the deal with Lisa? Can we borrow her?
We can't do that, guys, because common decency prohibits us. We can't.
Stop. Were you just planning to steal their girlfriends anyway, and then turn Lisa into a human corn on the cob?
Then proceed to clone Ian and Max their own sex slave by risking the personal safety of the entire town. Which only succeeds in escalating the Cold War to DEFCON 1.
A missile! A missile in my house, Gary!
Lisa decides the best way she can help Gary and Wyatt is to invite a biker gang high on crystal meth to physically threaten a bunch of teenagers.
Bugs for you.
And instead of sympathizing with them and encouraging them to get into a rehab facility, what do they do instead?
Threaten a female minority.
Why don't you shut up?
Threaten a Native American chicken.
Yeah, you can leave in peace.
We can stay and die.
Then brandished an unregistered firearm, almost killing several party guests in the process.
Gary and Wyatt then capitalize on this moment of weakness and exploit it for their own personal desires. And what girl wouldn't find that attractive?
You really weren't afraid of those guys?
I was scared. But what could I do?
Lisa is everything I ever wanted in a girl. Before I knew what I wanted. I know that if I could do it again, I'd make her just like you.
I can't even throw shade on that one. That's a good line.
Then, after a much-needed and well-deserved weekend away, Chet returns, only to discover that his trust has been violated.
Little bastard.
Leading to a final showdown where Chet finally shows Lisa that there are consequences to her actions.
You got everybody synced to the same bullshit story.
While Gary and Wyatt take their newly minted shallow and unfaithful girlfriends home.
Get out of here. Come on, take your little hussies home. The parents are probably worried sick.
And instead of taking Chet's constructive criticism and using it to become a better person, what does she do instead?
I can be a real serious if I don't get what I want.
Hit me with your best shot.
Riddle his body with tumors and then blackmail him into silence?
Correct you are, Owen.
Quit screwing around. This ain't funny. You stupid.
Just for that, I ought to give you a set of elephants.
Hey.
And because they have no more use for her,
Lisa, we have to have a talk with you.
What's on your mind?
Gary and Wyatt kick her to the curb.
Bye.
Well, there you have it. Weird Science, everybody. A movie that leaves us with just as many questions as it does answers. Like, whatever happened to Grandma and Grandpa after they were put into a coma and left to rot in a food pantry?
Do you have any idea how disrespectful that is?
How were they able to give Lisa an IQ of 226 when Einstein only had an IQ of 160? And last but not least,
If you were a 15-year-old boy, would these turn you on?
Yes. Yes, it does.
so write your answers in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, why not show us a little love by enlisting in and spreading our weekly complaint fest to the masses? Or else,
You're dead meat, Pilgrim.